Jeremy Clarkson didn't hold back when he turned his attention to Labour's Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner after a highly memorable incident months ago. As the Labour Party prepared for a crucial phase in their political strategy, Rayner was caught on camera dancing the night away in a nightclub, a moment that quickly became fodder for political memes. True to form, Clarkson wasted no time delivering a scathing commentary. This week, we learned that Angela Rayner is considering a plan to prevent employers from firing completely incompetent staff, Clarkson quipped. And if she's off partying in Ibiza instead of working in her office, that means she's not out there dreaming up more socialist policies to force down our throats. Honestly, I'd be thrilled if she and Keir Starmer spent all 52 weeks of the year on holiday. Now that would suit me just fine. The backlash came quickly and fiercely. Some defended Rayner, arguing she deserved a break, while others sided with Clarkson, questioning her priorities. How could such a high-prefaceable leader justify dancing in Ibiza when the UK was facing deepening economic struggles and pressing policy challenges? This wasn't just another celebrity critique. It was a microcosm of a much bigger issue. Clarkson's comments tapped into growing concerns about the Labour Party's ability to lead. Were they focusing too much on optics and not enough on the real issues facing the country? Fast forward to December, and Rayner found herself back in the hot seat, this time over Labour's ambitious housing promise, 1.5 million new homes. The plan sounded good in theory, but Rayner faltered during a live interview. First, she confidently boasted about the target, only to backpedal moments later by claiming there were already plenty of houses. Which was it? The confusion didn't end there. When pressed about where these new homes would be built, Rayner hesitated, offering vague numbers but no clear answers. Critics wasted no time pouncing. Once again, Clarkson led the charge, accusing Labour of making grand promises without any coherent plan. And when the conversation turned to who these homes were actually for, Rayner avoided questions about reports suggesting a significant portion might be earmarked for migrants. What should have been a straightforward policy proposal was turning into a chaotic spectacle, and the public was taking notice. Housing shortages, rising homelessness, and sky-high property prices had been urgent concerns for years, yet Labour seemed utterly unprepared to address them with clarity. Was this a sign of deeper problems within the party's leadership? But the housing fiasco was just the beginning. Labour soon found itself embroiled in an even bigger scandal. Reports emerged that the government might postpone local elections in key areas where Labour support was faltering. Conveniently, these were areas where Labour was facing catastrophic losses. The timing couldn't have been more suspicious. Labour defended the move as part of a broader devolution and governance reform package, but the public wasn't buying it. It felt like a blatant attempt to avoid an embarrassing defeat, another desperate political maneuver to protect their own skin. Trust in Labour took another hit, and critics, including Clarkson, were quick to call it what it was: a cynical attempt to silence opposition voices and delay the inevitable. Through all of this, Starmer stood firmly by his deputy. Loyalty is commendable in a leader, but many were left baffled by Starmer's unflinching support for Rayner, despite her growing list of missteps. Was this the strong leadership Labour needed, or was it simply a sign of a party increasingly mired in internal chaos? For the public, the situation was becoming impossible to ignore. Trust in Labour was plummeting. Once hopeful pensioners, middle-class families and working-class Brits now felt betrayed. Taxes were rising despite promises to the country. Pension reforms had left the elderly vulnerable. Inflation and job insecurity were rampant. It wasn't just a string of policy failures, it was the unmistakable feeling that Labour had lost its way. As the pressure mounted, things took a shocking turn. Investigative journalist Isabel Oakeshott dropped a bombshell. A large portion of the homes Labour promised to build for the homeless were actually being allocated to migrants. These weren't just any homes. They were part of government schemes originally designed to house the UK's growing homeless population. The revelation sent shockwaves through the public. The debate wasn't about anti-immigration sentiment, it was about fairness. Why were UK citizens, many of whom were living on the streets, being overlooked for homes that were supposed to address their needs? Clarkson didn't mince her words, accusing Labour of being completely out of touch with the priorities of ordinary Brits. For many, this wasn't just a housing scandal. It symbolised the widening chasm between Labour and the people it claimed to represent. As the scandal unfolded, Labour's credibility continued to unravel. Jeremy Clarkson, never one to shy away from controversy, became an even louder voice of frustration. He pointed out how Rayner and Starmer were struggling to answer even basic questions about their own policies, whether it was housing, election postponements, tax increases, or simply the state of the nation. It was becoming increasingly clear Labour was out of its depth.